Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another Talk It Out. My name is Brandy Fox with Be the Entrepreneur, and tonight I am super excited about this topic. If you know me, you know I am all about wealth, how you can make money, especially as African Americans. We got to get this money thing tight. So today I have my financial advisor, amazing person, Chawn, and we're going to be talking about all things accumulating wealth, the 8 ways, 8 streams of income for you to obtain wealth. So before we transition to that, I just want to welcome to Talk It Out. It's our bi-weekly chat show where we support minority entrepreneurs. So not only do we just talk about issues, we give you tangible, actual steps that you can start taking right now to go ahead and get your life together. If you want to be an entrepreneur, we give those tips. If you just want to get your wealth together, we teach you how to do that as well. Our goal is just to get the information out there to people who would normally not have it. So I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us today. So if you are not following us outside of Facebook or Instagram, you can follow us on both of those pages and YouTube at b.theentrepreneur. And if you do have to leave early before we finish, this show is from 6 to 7 p.m. Don't forget to go to our website at www.betheentrepreneur.com. And on there, you can register for this event and you'll get a full playback via email after the event is over. So Mr. Chawn Payton, he is an amazing financial advisor. Like I said, he is mine with Northwestern Mutual. And some of the topics we're going to be covering today is your mindset, how to get your mind right to be able to prepare yourself to get those 8 streams of income. It's not easy, but it's not something that's impossible as well. It's all about getting your mind right and knowing what you want to do and the type of wealth you want to accumulate. We're going to talk about education. Education is key. You really can't do what you don't know. So our goal right here is to give you the information you need and for you to be able to utilize it and apply it to your life to take your wealth, your business to the next level. And lastly, we're going to give you implementation tips. We're going to tell you everything that we're talking about today. We're going to tell you how you can start implementing these steps right now, wherever you are, and be able to start accumulating wealth so you can fund your own business, grow your business, scale it, all that kind of stuff. We want to make sure that you have the tools that are necessary to do that. So, as I told you, I am the owner of Be the Entrepreneur Consulting Agency, and we specialize in strategizing, implementing, and empowering new and aspiring entrepreneurs. And we do that by streamlining the startup process and giving you a step-by-step guide to start your business and transition from the vision phase all the way to the profit-making phase. So we break that thing down like a fraction, and we get you everything you need. Most of our clients have fully running business within 2 to 4 months, depending on your dedication and your level of time. So some of the programs that we have here at Be the Entrepreneur, right now we have How to Start a Business in 30-Day ebook series out. That is available now. That's basically an ebook that consists of 8 different categories of services that you can get. That includes your self-evaluation, business evaluation, competitive analysis, a full business plan. We have a budget template that has 10 templates in it. Everything you literally need to start a business. And you can use one book. If you're struggling in one area, we have a book on branding. If you want to do the whole full business process, you can literally take our full How to Start a Business in 30 Days ebook course to be able to get what you need to be able to start your business efficiently. So a little breakdown of our services. On March 26th, we will be launching our Be the Entrepreneur education suite. That will consist of our Institute of Entrepreneurship. That is for people who are kind of self-started entrepreneurs, like you want to start a business, you kind of got the foundation, but you just need a little bit of extra help to kind of get you to that next level. That is something that we offer. It's an online course where I will walk you through digitally how to start your business in each ebook. Our next one is How to Start a Business in 30-Day ebook series. I talked to you about that a little bit earlier. Basically, where you have the opportunity to pick the different books that work for you to help you grow your business. Next, we have our Be the Entrepreneur Academy. This is my baby. I'm so excited about it. Basically, it is a whole entrepreneur academy where we literally walk you through every step. And in addition to walking you through digitally, we also provide you with a mentor at the end of each section. So when you get to the finance part, you have the opportunity to have a one-on-one 60-minute session with a financial advisor and an accountant and a CPA, everything you need to add to complete the rest of that ebook and ask any questions that you have in reference to accounting, growing your business. We have the same thing for our branding portion. We also have a lawyer on there. So we have everything you need to literally grow your business, and we walk you straight through the process. This is perfect for people who are full-time employees and they're looking to transition into full-time entrepreneurs. This is perfect for retirees. Like if you're looking for a little side hustle, you got your money coming in, but you're like, I need a little bit more money. And this is good for new entrepreneurs who are like, Brandy, I don't know what I'm doing. I need somebody to hold my hand and guide me through this. It's a 4-month program, but at the end of that 4 months, you have a full business that's ready to start running and making money. And lastly, we have our Beta Tribe. That is going to be our online private business community where you'll be able to have access to our templates, our education materials, and everything you need right online. So today's show, what to expect. Number one, we were doing a free Be the Entrepreneur consultation giveaway at the end of the show. Like I said, we do end at 7. So around that 6:50, 6:55 mark, we will be doing a giveaway. I will be choosing the first 2 people to be able to have a free consultation service, and we'll talk about that at the end. Our goal is to provide you with organic solution-based discussions. Nothing makes me madder than when I listen to a podcast, I listen to a radio station, and they're talking about information, and I'm like, okay, this sounds good, I like it, but okay, how can I implement this in my life? So my goal when creating Talk It Out was to give you solutions that you can use right now to kind of grow your business or pivot your business. Lastly, we do have open Q&A for all the topics that we're talking about. So if you have a question, if we say something you don't understand, you need clarification, please do not hesitate to drop it in the comments. We're doing all of our Q&A as they come in. You don't have to wait to the end. Any business question that you have pertaining to today, we want to answer those questions live because it might be somebody that's questioning, might be shy, they don't want to ask the question. So if you ask that question, we'll have the ability to answer for you live. So next, I want to welcome Mr. Chawn Payton on, and I always have my entrepreneurs share a quote, but it's more importante. And his quote tied directly to my why. Having control over your own time is ultimate freedom. Chawn, drop us on it. Tell us why you chose that one, because I already feel it.
Well, a lot of times when you think about why we do what we do, we get up, we go to work, and we go to work to make money, and that money is able to help us sustain a lifestyle, right? So at the end of the day, I like the quote because money is not everything, but it's a tool that allow you to have a lot of your time back, right? To where you have options and you have choices every day on what you want to do with your day or with your life. And if you have money in place or you got some investments in place, then that's going to allow you to get the ultimate freedom where you can wake up every single day and choose what you want to do without having to worry about any financial consequences. So that's kind of how I came up with it. That's kind of something I'm looking forward to at some point. I'm still working on it, right? But at some point, that's what I'm trying to get to. So.
Man, I'm trying to hit this thing in like 5 years. I put myself on a 5-year plan. I'm trying to be all the way out, laying on somebody's yacht.
Right.
Look like this. But no, honestly, so I'm excited. Thank you so much, Chawn. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into the financial world? Like I told them before, you are my financial advisor, and I'm so grateful. I feel like from the first time we met, it was like we clicked and we rolled this thing. So yeah, tell the people a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So, I'm from a small city, Valdosta, Georgia, born and raised, and then I went to school at Florida A&M University, and actually got a computer engineering degree. And so from that, I went to work in the technology space at a company called Accenture, and I did that for about 9 years. But what really got me interested in finance and money and investing was my first year working at Accenture. I've always had bank clients, so it was more technology within the banking sector. My supervisor was probably about a year or two older than I was. And I can't remember how we started, but we had a conversation about just money and investing. He said, Chawn, when I graduated high school, my dad asked me if I wanted $500 of stock or $500 of cash. And he said, I chose the stock, and now it's worth, $2,500 4 years later. And
Run
so,
me that stock.
right. And I said, man, in my mind, if my dad would have asked me that, I definitely would have chose the cash, right? In about a month or so, at the most, and then it would have been it. That would have been the end of that, But the difference is, he had some forethought to know what to do with that money. Because if you look at the surface, there was no difference between he and I. We went to different schools, but we ended up at the same company. And in 2 years, I was going to be in his same position. So on the front end, right, there was no difference between he and I. But on the back end, when it comes to the wealth picture, he was already ahead of me. He was ahead of the game, right? Just simply from his mindset at an early age and how he thought about money. So that just got me thinking. I'm like, man, if we can just think about this thing differently at a young age, to where you're in middle school, high school, and your concept of money and how it's supposed to be used is different, how much better off we'll be in the long run, because we're looking at money as a tool to give us the life we want versus just a tool for us to use and spend as a consumer. So that kind of got me down that road. And ever since then, I hung out with them a lot. I hung out with people who were smarter than me in the area. I started studying on my own, just kind of looking at things, and then got tired of working in corporate. And I had a friend of mine approach me about being an advisor. He said he thought I'd be good at it. And so I said, why not? That way I can help implement some of the things that I've already been recommending to my friends and family. And 2017, made that jump, and here I am. So live in Kennesaw, or a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia, with my wife, Yolanda. No children yet, maybe sometime soon. And simple life. It is a process. So that's me.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I'm looking forward to tonight, because we about to run this thing. Y'all about to learn something tonight. If you ain't never learned something from Be the Entrepreneur, talk it out before.
I'm excited.
All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is mindset. Before we get into these 8 streams of income, how do you feel about the mindset? What do you think is the mindset that's keeping, in particular, we're going to talk about Black people because that's who we are. Okay. What do you think is the mindset that's keeping us from getting to this money?
I think there's a couple things, right? I think there's some systemic things in place that we're finding ways to break through those barriers, essentially creating our seat at the table in a lot of ways. I think us as Black people have found a way to make money. It's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. We're making money one way or another. But I think the challenge now is you're making good money now, but how do you sustain that money, and how do you create a wealth transfer to the next generation, to where we create old money, if you will? Because right now, not a lot of Black people have old money, being quite frank, right? But and just be 100% transparent, I have a few white clients, and when I talk to them, the income is the same. But again, behind the scenes, that's where it's different. So they're living in their parents' house that's paid off, right? And their parents saved for college, so they don't have any student loans. And so they make, let's just say, $100,000 a year, but they're able to save a significantly amount more because those 2 big expenses are not on their balance sheet, And that's because they have been into the fold of having owed money with their parents. So for us, it's all about, okay, if I really want to change the landscape of my family and my future family, I have to be okay with not necessarily spending all of my money while I'm living, but making sure that I'm setting up some things for the next generation. And then with that, not only setting it up, but educating your siblings and your children on how to properly manage that money once it's in their possession. Because it's not going to do any good if you don't teach them how to use it. They come into, $5 million and then it's gone by the time they're 40 years old. Then what was the point of that? We
see that every tax season. Tax season. Look, boy, it be thousandaires out here, just thousandaires. I was just at Walmart. It was so many TVs. Look, I just got out the way. I was like, let me get my little kids hot fries, and let me get up out this sofa. I get ran over.
Yep. And it's all about, I think, when you know better, hopefully you should do better. And I think if a lot of people really just sat down and thought about the road that they're currently on and where it's going to take them, and the road they could be on if they made small changes over time, where they could be. Do you really need to, I'm just throwing this at, have Starbucks every single day? Can you just save that $5 and put it in some type of investment account and grow, in 30 years from now, you'll, 100 times X that amount? It just, thinking about things a little differently when it comes to, money versus being a consumer, to where you use the money to buy things versus being a investor, right? Or someone who's looking for ways to make their money work for them, right? So that's kind of like that's the quick and dirty. I think us as Black folks, we've done a good job of making the money. Now it's all about efficiency and optimizing and creating that wealth transfer and changing the mindset of not only that individual, but the kids and the generation behind it. So.
No, I agree. That was all perfect. You dropped some key things that I love. That changing the landscape of your finances, that's very important. Because it's so exciting. Like, when you start getting the money, you like, hey, I'm about to make it rain. Then you like, I'm like,
yeah.
Let me pull that back. Let me pull it back.
Yeah, but and you know what I tell people all the time? There's nothing wrong. Life is short, right? And there's nothing wrong with spending the money that you work hard for. But let's just not spend all of it, right? Let's have a plan in place to where you spend this amount and then you save and invest this amount, and just let that be it. Just learn to live off that, So
and that's good. I think that's good. I think and that comes down to budgeting, real talk. You know what I'm saying? If you budget, you know what you got, you know what you don't got, and you can plan accordingly. And that's how I roll.
Yeah.
So when we go into mindset, so now we need to transition our mind from a consumer mindset to an investor mindset, which means I'm not going to spend everything I get as soon as I use it. I'm going to figure out how to make my money work for me and invest it in another opportunity. So with that being said, hey, I'm just rewording what you said. You know what I'm saying? Sound a little fancy, I know, but that's just what you said. But transition to that, we want to get into this education portion.
Okay.
So when we get into education, I want to go ahead and start with the 8 streams of income. So I'm just going to drop the stream of income, and then we can kind of discuss a little bit more on what that looks like and how to take actionable steps now to start accumulating that. And not saying that, we talk about rental income, you're going to be able to go buy you a duplex tomorrow. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that we're going to give you the tools to be able to prepare. So if real estate is something that you're looking to get into, you know what I'm saying? The steps, like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, to a certain extent of what we know. We're not relatives, but we don't give you that information. All right, so we're going to start with stream 1. Stream 1 is earned income.
Yeah. So this is probably the most common type. I think the majority of people out there are working for a paycheck or working to get paid to some form or fashion, right? And this is probably I don't want to say the most easiest form of income that you can create, but it's definitely the most accepted, if you will, to where even at 15 or 16 years old, as soon as you're legal to work, you go to McDonald's or you go to a grocery store, Wendy's, whatever your first job was, and I was a bag boy, and so I bagged groceries, and then every 2 weeks, right, I got my check, and I'm happy, right? I did this, and I got my, right. But I think though a lot of times people are kind of going to the education piece or uneducated on other options outside of just going to a job and having a paycheck, right? If you think about, I'm kind of going off track a little bit, but if you think about like the school system and what you're taught in school. And what a lot of the parents teach your kids is, you go to school, go to college, get a job, get a paycheck, right? Saving get a pension, and hopefully everything will work out, right? And don't really look at other opportunities that may be out there to still bring in some income, So when it comes to earned income, that's probably the most common. Most people have that as a form of income. And I would say that would probably be the first place I would start to some degree if you're just kind of looking to get started somewhere, Just find a way to work to bring in income, bring in money. So.
Right. And with that earned income, just piggybacking off of that, that's an opportunity for you to start those saving habits and those budgeting habits. And y'all, it don't really got to be that hard, only because for most of us, our bills are the same every month. It's consistent, usually the same time, unless, you don't have out of, but regardless, it's due the same time every month. So that's going to be a fixed expense. The fixed expenses are the best because you don't got to guess about it. You know it's going to come out. You know you can put it on your budget. So when you are creating your budget, create your fixed expenses first. That's the easiest place to go. Start with your fixed expenses. Subtract that from your income, your net income that you bring into the crib. Boom. Now you know how much you got left. All right. So if we got $2,000, your rent is 12. That means you got 800 left. I pray you ain't got no car payment because it's about to get real tight.
Yeah.
But yes. It don't take much. It don't take much. And even y'all, like, I know when I first started, like, I literally did $10 a week. Like, for real. Like, I literally just did. That's all I had. I was like, I'm going to do $10 a week, baby. You know what I'm saying? But, that $10 a week add up. It's 52 weeks in a month. You know what I'm saying? So my first year, I had, a little bit over $500 saved. So I'm like, okay, man, I'm about to get 50. I'm about to get 15 a week. You start like that. And what people don't realize is that that's small. It's minute, and have it automatically transfer. Like on the day you get paid, as soon as your paycheck comes, go ahead and have that $10 transferred right on out. That way you're not missing it. You don't know it's gone. You can go ahead and start saving without even knowing it. And that's a way to start accumulating wealth with your earned income.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, at the end of the day, you got to spend less than you make, right? However you come to that conclusion, that's what you got to do. Spend less than you make. And to your point, Brandy, there's two things that that helps people save. One, if it's automatic, right, to where you don't have to manually move it. I think you mentioned that. And then two, if you have a target or a goal that you're saving for, right? So if your goal is, hey, I want to save $1,000 by the end of the year, or 100,000 by the end of the year, right? You back into that number each month, kind of figure out what it takes. Mm-hmm. And psychologically, what happens is you're saving money every single week or month toward that goal. And it makes you a little bit more hesitant to pull money out of that account because that's going to get you further from your goal, So you're not as quick to pull it out because you're not really shooting for something. But if you got a goal or target in mind, you're a little bit more hesitant to pull that money out and use it for something not aligning to the goal. So
I agree. Because I'm trying to get this 4x4 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. I'm trying to get it fully loaded, baby. So that's on the horizon. That's on the horizon. So I'm like, shoot. I'm like, these shoes do look nice, but do I really need them when we in a pandemic and we ain't going nowhere?
Right.
I was thinking. But Chawn, we have a question. I just wanted to bring it up. Okay. Is it worth it to still save while you are paying down debt for remaining funds after bills?
Yes. So I like to tell it this way. So, and it has to have some balance. So definitely paying down debt is something that we need to do, but emergency fund and having an emergency fund is, in my mind, the number one priority. And I'll tell you why. Imagine, let's just say you get your tax return and it's $3,000 and you got a credit card bill that's $3,000 and you got, $50 in your savings account. And so now you're looking at your account like, all right, what should I do with this money? But I hate this credit card. I hate this debt. I'm going to take the $3,000 and just pay off the credit card and be done with it. Okay. So you feel good temporarily, but then the next month you lose your job, right? Now what? Credit card company not going to care that you just paid them off, right? You can't ask for that $3,000 back.
Nah, baby.
Right? So now the good thing is you don't have any credit card debt, but the bad thing is you don't have any money to support your lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And so I tell people there has to be some type of balance. And I would say initially start now, and this is just a generalization, not to anybody specific, but if you get a windfall of cash or if you're saving and you don't have a really robust emergency fund, find a percentage that's good for you and put it toward that emergency fund first. Or maybe around 70 or 75% of that $3,000 go toward the emergency fund and then take the rest and then pay off some debt. Now that's just kind of like a general rule, but a whole point of that is until you get that emergency fund, until you can support yourself maybe 2 or 3 months without a paycheck, right? That would be the priority. And then let's aggressively attack the debt.
I like it. I ain't even got nothing to say. If I was to say something, that's what I would have said. But thank you. So rolling right along. So our second stream of income that we're going to talk about is dividend income.
So dividend income, I think this is kind of like the hidden jewel, right? I don't think a lot of people really understand what dividends are and how they work. So I'll start there. So in the most common form, right? Let's just say you invest in Apple. Okay, you put $1,000 in Apple, and Apple is using your $1,000 to create the next iPhone. And when they create the next iPhone, the sales are a lot better than they expected. Apple does great, and they have a lot of profit. And they say, okay, because you own a part of Apple, we're going to reward you based on the growth of our company and give you some of the profits that we created in the form of dividends, right? So with that, it's not anything that it doesn't necessarily grow the value of your share, but it's essentially a cash payment into your account based on how many shares you have, right? So they may give you $2 for every one share you have. So if you got 10 share, 10 times 2, that's $20. They give you $20 in your account, okay? And then from that $20, you can either choose to reinvest it back into Apple, or
I highly suggest
reinvest it back into Apple, or take it in cash and use that as a form of income. Okay. And so there's a lot of different strategies. So, typically the younger folks who don't really need the money, they reinvest those dividends just to get more shares of that company. But I have heard of another strategy is you can build up your portfolio to a point to where the dividend income that you're getting on an annual basis can essentially, count as some type of retirement income, to where you're getting 10, 11, or 12,000 a year just in dividend income, right? That's another strategy, right? So dividends is something that, you really shouldn't sleep on, but there's companies that give great dividends and companies that don't give so much great dividends. Typically, if the company is more of in growth mode and they're trying to build the company and it's still growing, a lot of technology companies, they don't really have high dividends typically. If it's more a value type company to where they're sustaining themselves over a long period of time, like Coke or AT&T, right? They may give you higher dividends because they know that the growth over time is not as drastic as some of the other tech companies. So they say, well, how do we supplement that and keep the investors happy? Well, let's give them dividend income so that kind of balance out, the overall return. So dividend is very powerful. I mean, my personal strategy is I take all my dividends in cash. And then at the end of the year, I take that lump sum and I invest it in some new companies, right? So I got it to a point to where I don't have to, I don't reinvest my dividends, but I can still invest in new companies, but not necessarily using my own cash, new money, right? So there's a lot of different strategies out there. You got to figure out which one is best for you, but dividend is very powerful. Definitely look into that.
I'm all about the dividends. I ain't think about the saving to the end and kind of buying a new one. I literally put it back in and I just buy more shares of the company. The companies I like. So that's good to know. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm like, I ain't even crossed my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Good look. All right. Please note, if you're just hopping on, if you have any questions, the chat box is open. Please type any questions. I know some of this information may be new, may be old. We want to make sure that we get you the answers that you need. So please do not hesitate to ask any questions in the chat area, and we will be sure to answer those live for you. So, Chawn, moving on. We rolling this thing. Okay. We on number 3.
Okay.
We on capital gains.
Capital gains. So when you invest, this is probably the most common type of returns, if you will. So essentially, using that Apple example, you buy, 10 shares of Apple, and the value of the company, let's just say you buy 10 shares at $100 each. Okay. And it's 2021. But over time, Apple is going to put out new products. Apple is going to, have new services they provide, and the value of the company is continually to grow, right? So it may be a $1 billion company today. It may be a $10 billion company tomorrow. And when it gets to that point, the value of your shares increases as the company grows as well, right? So that those 10 shares at $100 each may now be worth $200 each, okay? And that difference, right, from the amount of money you put in and the difference from where it's now worth is what we call the capital gains, right? So the difference between what it's worth and what you put in. Now, in those capital gains, you have to be careful because, there's, not to get into much strategy, but whenever you pull those capital gains out, you have to pay taxes on it, which is not the end of the world, right? There's some metrics and ways to control that. But when you're thinking about the power of compounding over time, it's very powerful. And what I mean by that is there's this rule called the rule of 72. That says, you heard of it?
Nah, I'm about to though.
Okay, the rule of 72 says your money doubles every 10 years or so, assuming about a 7% interest, right? Rate of return, rather. So let's just say someone's 20 years old, they got 10,000. So 20 years old to 30 year old, that 10 turns to 20. And then 30 to 40 year old, that 20 becomes 40. The 40 to 50 year olds, the 40 becomes 80, 60. No. At 60 years old, you have $160,000, right? And that's just the compounding effect of having your money invested for a long amount of time with those capital gains, right? And that's assuming that you don't put anything else in it, right? That's just that same 10 grows to 160 in the span of 40 years. So imagine if you continue to contribute to that account, okay? And again, that's just a generalization, right? It's not guaranteeing that, but that's over time. That seems to be the trend since the stock market was created. So.
Come on, rule of 72. I ain't never heard of that. That's crazy. That's good to know though. So that's capital gains. So just in conclusion, just kind of rounding that up for you guys, it's the difference between your original investment and the kind of the growth of the stock when they make money. And he talked a little bit more about the rule of 72, basically saying that if you continually invest your money normally doubles every 10 years with a 7% rate of return. So if you haven't heard of it, definitely look it up, get more information. I want to get this money because I like when anything, if it double, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So Nick, we're going to go right into royalty income.
Okay. So royalty, funny you should say that. So I have a lot of clients in that entertainment space, and we call it mailbox money, if you will, right? So it's essentially when people pay you to either use a service that you provided or a product or invention. It's basically it's basically a way to get paid on someone else using something you created. Right. So for an example, in the entertainment space, you got a TV show. I love watching Martin. Right. And every time Martin runs on the TV show and I'm watching it, everybody in that cast get a little piece. Right. I don't know how much it is, but they get a little piece. And that's what we call royalties. Right. Or you think about it in the music industry. Every time you get a stream or something, you sell a CD or whatnot, the people behind that project, they get royalties. So it's basically you creating this thing that you can share over and over and over again. And as each time it gets shared or used or watched or seen, you get a piece of that. You get a portion of that. And then if you think about it in a business standpoint, let's just say, Brandon, you had a partner. Let's just say you're producing water bottles. Mm-hmm. And I come in, I say, you need some help. You need some money investing to get this thing off the ground. You do? All right, cool. So here's the deal. For every water bottle you sell, I'm going to get 10 cents of that forever, right? Mm-hmm. In return, I'll give you $100,000 to get your business off the ground, right? That can be a form of royalty. So that means I give you $100,000 up front, but from here on out, I'm getting 10 cents for every water bottle you sold in perpetuity forever.
Dang, that's good. I like that.
That can be a force. So that means I gave you that $100,000, and now I don't have to worry about it. I just know I'm getting the mailbox money because a check coming every single month or year or week, just kind of based on a great deal that was put together. So hopefully that helps and kind of explains it. But it's essentially a way to get
that
paid.
was perfect.
An idea that you created that's being used over and over again. So.
I love that. That is perfect. The example was perfect too. I'm all about that. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I'm trying to write like a mastermind book or something. I'm like, come on, just let me check my mailbox and I just be overflowing.
Right.
All right. So stream 5, we have profit income.
Oh, profit income. Okay. It's essentially kind of like it sounds. So when you have I'll just use a house for an example. So that's probably the most relatable type of asset. So you have a house, you bought it for $100,000, you wait 10 years, the market is doing very well, you sell it for $200,000, and now that you made $100,000 profit, right? Or again, the water bottle, you buy it and you customize it, and it takes you about $5 to make the water bottle, and then you sell it for $15. You just made a $10 profit, right? So it's essentially anything that you sell for more than what you created it with, or the amount that you created with, right? And that's what we call profit income. And so a lot of times I'm kind of or used to be a sneakerhead. So, but in a lot of times there's like a second market for sneakers nowadays, StockX. And so people that buy these shoes, these Jordans, as soon as they come out and they inflate the price on these websites, over $100, and then they sell it, then that's the profit that they made because they sold it for more than what they bought it for, And so in a lot of times I got another client of mine who he goes to like a Target, Ross, the clearance aisle on Walmart, buying things at a steep discount, and then takes those, kind of cleans them up a little bit if they need to, put them on like eBay or Amazon, and resell them for double what he bought it for.
That's a good little side hustle.
Another, he's doing pretty well with that, surprisingly. But his thing is video games, so video games is what he's selling. Yeah. So again, just finding ways to buy something at a discount and sell it for more than what you paid for. That's profit income.
That's perfect. So Chawn, we have another question for you.
Okay.
How can the average person take part in royalty income? We know you reference celebrities. What can somebody that's not a celebrity do?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of. So because royalty income is you having a product or service or a project that others can use. A lot of times the common person, the average person doesn't have that to offer, right? So royalty income may be a little difficult for just the average person, unless you have an idea or a product or something that can be used over and over again. We may have to focus on one of the other streams to get you that kind of constant income on a regular basis. So hopefully that helps. But and I can go back and do some research, but off the top of my head, that entertainment space is really kind of the bread and butter when it comes to royalties. And then like just doing deals like I mentioned to you, Brandy, about having an investor come in and getting a portion of each product sold for however long. So
I think that would be the easiest as an average person, is to find somebody to invest in. That would be like that investment and doing, like you said, I think that would be the easiest, most common way, especially now. If you're starting a business, like if you see somebody, I know it's a lot of people that do this, people that have money, they're not good at business ideas or they're not an entrepreneur, but they love to support it. So they use kind of their money to kind of support other entrepreneurs. So that is a way to get royalty income. And if you set up those parameters right, when you do your contract about how you get paid back, that's an opportunity for you to kind of get that ongoing money.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So we have another question for you. You good? You need some water or something? Your throat getting dry?
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay,
good.
all right, because I got mine, so I want to make sure. All right, so if someone is interested in voiceovers or voice work, there's a big avenue where royalties are involved when it comes to Audible accounts, etc. You can set up or work to receive royalties every time something you have done work is. Oh, okay. She's giving an example. That wasn't a question. Okay, yeah. I'm like, dang, I don't see no question mark. Okay, cool. So that was a great example. Thank you so much, Vivian, for sharing. So you guys, that's a really good example. So if you are in that space, like quote unquote the average person, lack of a better word, there are creative ways that you can use the talents that you have to be able to, you know what I'm saying, market what you already do. And the voiceovers is a great example. Thank you so much for sharing that, Vivian. All right, so we roll into stream number 6. It's 8 of these for anybody that just joined on. It's 8. We gonna roll it. So we on 6, rental income.
So this is, I mean, when it comes to rental income, I don't want to say this is my favorite, but it's one of the favorites, because it's like a double-edged sword, if you will. You can get like a profit, capital gains, and some cash flow. So rental income is kind of straightforward. So you think about most people buy a home to live in, okay, or some people buy a home to rent out. Some people have commercial buildings like the department stores or that plaza, and they rent those out. And so rental income is essentially a way to create some type of income having property or real estate that someone else is using. So for an example, if I had a single family home, in Atlanta, and I have a tenant inside of it, right, he would give me payment for allowing him to stay there, right? And so that payment, let's just say $1,000. So that's $1,000 gross, without any other expenses or expenditures taken out, coming into my account. And then because I have the house, I probably didn't pay cash for it. I may have a mortgage. And so I would take that $1,000, pay the mortgage out of it, and then set some aside for some other expenses. And then net to me in my bank account may be, $200 for that month. And so that can be a portion of rental income to where you have a property or you have some real estate, someone is there paying you for you allowing them to use their facility. And then that income that comes in is considered rental income. And then whenever you pay your expenses, the net is essentially called cash flow, right? Or your net income. Okay. And then on a larger scale, you can do think about commercial properties, right? So I got a friend of mine who his dad owns land in California, just land, but the land is in a prime location, and I think he has a Carl's Jr. and a Taco Bell on his land, and they are paying him, X amount per month. I think it might have been like 30 grand a month or something like that.
Come on, easy money.
To sit on his land and to use that facility, right? All he do is own the land, but he can 30 grand a month to lease it out, right, to these folks so they can run their operation, and he's collecting the check, mailbox money, essentially, right? Through them having the lease and renting that land spot for them. Okay. So I like rental income because it's passive. It's essentially one of those where you set it up one time and that can essentially be your paycheck, if you will, right? There's a little bit of risk there, but that can essentially be a way to replace your income. And I know a lot of people are real estate investors who that's their goal. They get properties in their portfolio to where the cash flow is enough to replace their income on a monthly basis so that they don't have to work a 9 to 5 anymore. So
come on.
And then at the same time, the property value increases over time, right? So where you get tired of dealing with the tenant, right? Or getting tired of dealing with that property, you can sell it, right? For a profit, right?
Hey, that's the word. That's the word of the night. Profit, baby.
Another form of income, So it's multifaceted. So I kind of like rental and just real estate and the flexibility that has as well. So
No, it's perfect. And for the average person, I think the biggest thing I like about real estate is it's so diverse. Like it's just so many ways to make money in real estate. I know one of the things we were talking about earlier was like Airbnb. That's like a new form of real estate now that they're really going into where they're like, it's people out here that have money for Airbnbs, but they don't want to run it. So they literally paying people just to run their Airbnbs for me. Like, I want you to run the listing. I'm gonna buy it. I want you to run it. That's easy money because now you're making money for just running something that somebody got to pay, that somebody's already paying for. So they have whole live trainings for Airbnbs and how you can make money if you don't have that upfront money to really run it or manage it. So it's a lot of different ways to make money in real estate. It's just really about researching, knowing what your income is, knowing what you're trying to make, and really ultimately analyzing your risk. How much are you trying to risk? What are you trying to risk? I think just kind of determine those things to let you know different ways that you can go within the real estate industry. Right. So, go ahead.
I'm gonna say Airbnb is on fire right now. It's a new wage or a new way to essentially have rental properties. There's some strategies that some people out there are using that I won't say on this call, but there's a lot of unique ways to kind of utilize Airbnb without necessarily having a lot of cash, if any at all.
Right.
So Google that, right?
It made me excited every time I think about it. I'm like, bro, the fact that you can make money with minimal investment, like Airbnb is changing the real estate game.
It is
across the board.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we ain't telling all that. Y'all gonna have to catch that on the flip. Airbnb 101. We ain't giving that tonight, but we're gonna tell you that Airbnb is efficient. And if you want a way to get into something, look it up, figure out what works for you, your budget, and your risk management assessment that you do on yourself. Next, we have stream number 7. That's interest income.
Interest income. So this is another probably common type of income. So when it comes to interest, there's a lot of ways to look at it. So if you go to a bank, right, and you put money in a savings account, they may give you a little bit of interest. You put it in a high yield savings account, you may get a little bit of interest. So it's essentially an institution's way of giving you some type of compensation for allowing them to use your money at their bank, right? Because if you think about big institutions, what they do is, let's just say you got 100 grand in the bank uses that, I guess that as a part of their balance sheet in order to lend out to other customers, right? And this is a whole nother conversation, but essentially what they'll do
is another conversation.
they'll put a mortgage on your house for you, right? And the money that is in the bank is essentially their safety net. And so they'll put a mortgage out or give you a mortgage on your house, and you may be paying 4% interest on that loan. So it kind of goes both ways. So you're paying that interest for borrowing money from them, right? And so that to the bank, interest is a form of income to them. Right? But then in turn, because they're using your money as collateral, they may give you a fraction of the interest that you're paying to them. So essentially, for example, if I work for, we'll just call it Bank One for now, and I got a mortgage with Bank One and I'm paying 4% interest, but I also have my savings account with Bank One, they may give me 0.05 of that 4% I just gave them back into my own account, right? So interest is most common, or not most common, but really common in banks. There's some government type of securities that provide interest. You can essentially become a lender yourself to where you buy debt, right? So bonds are another form of that, to where, these corporations, they say, hey, we need some help. We need some money. We're trying to do this project. I want to issue out opportunity for you to buy some of the debt that I have on my books. And if you do that, right, I'll give you 3% every single year based on the balance of that debt. Okay. and I only want to use your funds temporarily. And so I'm giving you this 2 or 3% every year. But once I'm finished with the project, I'm gonna give you your money back, right? And then that interest stops, right? So interest, you can kind of think about it as payment for allowing other institutions to use your money for temporary projects that they have or temporary things that they have going on. So hopefully that's clear enough.
No, that was clear. Hey, you crystal clear tonight. It can't get no clearer. If they don't understand after this, I ain't got nothing else for the people. Because this is clear. This is clear. All right, Mr. Chawn, we are on to the last one, my favorite one, and that's stream number 8, and that is residual income.
So let me ask you this: why is it your favorite?
Because it ain't nothing like just making easy money every month. It just comes. You ain't got to think about it. You ain't got to worry about it. Like, you know it's going to be there. It's like working for the government. You ain't got to worry about it. You know it's coming. It's coming. And then I think it's the most popular. Like, when people talk about streams of income, residual is always at the top. It's like, I'm trying to get residual income. I'm trying to make residual money, which is why a lot of people go into entrepreneurship in the first place. So I know that's why I kind of went into it. Like, I'm trying to have everything just rolling for me and just having it just kind of come in. So that's why.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense, because residual income is essentially you continuing to get paid for doing something that you did a long time ago, right? So you wrote a book, right, and you published the book. Okay. And you had copies printed from the book and it's sitting at the publisher. And so you're done, but people are still buying that book, right? So you might go on a TV show and say, hey, buy my book. Or you may have some ads, hey, buy my book. And you're still getting paid off every purchase of that book, even if you written the book 10 years ago, And so getting that residual income is essentially a great way to kind of make up, your paycheck, if you will, if you're looking to replace your 9-to-5. And it's very popular with business owners because you can essentially set up this business as an entity in itself, and then kind of remove yourself from it, but set up some type of deal or contract, right, to where you're still getting paid on the side for something that you set up 30 years ago.
Run me the check.
Well, that's what Brandon's working on. So we're trying to get it there. She is going to get there,
We on the way. Lord willing. Lord willing.
Yep.
But that's perfect.
So
do we have so that is the 8 forms of income. We tried to break it down like a fraction. So as we prepare to close out, I just want to make sure, does anybody have any additional questions about any of the 8 streams of income that we talked about today? And I'm gonna go over not all of them, but I'm just gonna name them one more time so you guys can kind of get accustomed to it. And if you want to look them up, get your own information, you're more than welcome to. But we have earned income, dividend income, capital gains, royalty income, profit income, rental income, interest income, and my favorite, residual income. So those are the 8 ways that you can make money and build wealth and create that old money mindset where, you don't have to worry about your kids, nothing. You don't have to worry about your grandkids, your great grandkids. You know that based on the financial decisions that you made right now, that the rest of your family is straight. And I know for me, having 2 kids, a legacy is prime for me. Like, that's right after freedom, it's like legacy. Well, it might be, they probably like cousins. They probably like right here. But it's all important. So rolling forward. I didn't roll too far forward. All right. So if you have a new business idea that you are thinking about taking to the market, you like, I don't know if it's going to make money. I think it's going to be good, but I don't know. If you go to my website, www.beingentrepreneur.com, when you subscribe, you will automatically get a download to our Straight to the Market checklist. And it's basically 8 steps for you to test your business idea before you take it to the market. Because one thing I consistently see is people be like, I'm going to start I got to think of something random. I can't think of a random business. Like, I'm gonna create tires. Tires are already invented, so it's kind of redundant. But I want to create a tire making business. That's something that you want to test before you go to the market. Number one, because that is a very popular business. It's companies that's been out here for years and years that do tires. So going through our straight to the market list, you'll be able to kind of answer some questions, and it'll let you know, like, you know what? I don't think this is going to be the move. And it allows you to pivot before you waste time, money, and, you know, your emotional stability, because business, it can be taunting. It helps you to kind of get that in order before you spend all that money and time on it. So you can get that by subscribing online. In addition, if you subscribe, you get this whole playback via email as well. We have our giveaway coming up next, and what that looks like. You win. 2 people get to win a free 30-minute consultation service with me. We'll hop on and literally you got 30 minutes to ask me any startup business questions that you have. I can't guarantee I know everything. I feel like I know a lot, but if I don't know, I have no problem getting you that information. That's something that I definitely want to do. How you can be one of these people to get it, all you have to do is go to our Instagram or our Facebook at b.theentrepreneur. Share any post on there. I don't care what it is. Any post that you see, the first one you see, the last one that you see, and tag us, put an at Be the Entrepreneur. The first 2 people that I get a tag from, when I check my phone, we get off, I'm going to reach out to you. We're going to set up your consultation, and we're going to go ahead and get you rolling and start transitioning that business vision into a real business. Or if you're already a business owner, we can help you pivot that business model to a more profitable one, or, you know, one that you might want to change it into. So with that being said, please do not forget to connect with us on via email, our website. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to put Mr. Chawn. Tell us the best Instagram, or what's the best way for people to contact you, because you dropped some gems, y'all, and I told y'all he's a financial advisor. He's amazing. So everything that we talked about, y'all see, we ain't practiced. I literally like told him what it was, and he literally rolled it off. So that lets you know he is a person that's knowledgeable. So I highly recommend him as my financial advisor. If you're looking for somebody to help you get your money in order, your life in order, something happened to me, Preston and Zaria, they in there. We good. They gonna be balling. So what's the best way for them to contact you?
I would say probably the best way is Instagram or Facebook, and I'll type my or if you don't mind, or I can type my handle in there, but CHAWNPAYTON. I'll respond pretty quickly, and I don't think any question is a silly question, so feel free to reach out. One of the most common misconceptions is, you know, I don't have enough money to work with an advisor, or I'm not ready to work with an advisor, but I would encourage you to reach out, if not to me, to someone where you can kind of bounce some ideas off of, and just making sure you're going in the right direction, right? Because there may be some things that you might not be aware of, like we talked about today. So
right,
reach out and let's talk.
He gonna hook you up. And let me tell you something else. They got life insurance policies like as low as like $15, y'all. Like, I know you got $15. I know you got $15. Like, hey, take care of your life, take care of your kids, everything. So if something happened to you, you can start, you know, that's the start on that generational wealth. You can know that the rest of your family, your offspring, your everybody is kind of taken care of if you put those things in place. And like I said, it can start as low as like $15 to $30 a month, literally. So hit up my homie Chawn. I didn't see any questions roll in. Don't forget to share any posts. I'm going to go ahead and choose those 2 people. But outside of that, I hope you guys have a great rest of the night, and thank you for tuning in to Talk It Out. Bye.
You guys take care.